Put your toothbrush in the shower. If you have ADHD, it will help you. Probably. Hi, I'm Zanny. I make content about cats, crafts, and mental health. Today, I want to share with you one of the most helpful ADHD tools that I have discovered, and that is habit stacking. I will warn you, if you're expecting some revolutionary productivity, I get all my stuff done kind of video, scroll away, this is not for you. If you are the type of person who maybe has racked up a ton of bills at the dentist for the number of times you've had to have cavities filled because you forget to brush your teeth no matter what you try, this is for you. I know this is super gross, but the reality is that for some people with ADHD, I am one of them, certain self-care habits, certain hygiene habits didn't really stick. When I was growing up, it's not that my parents didn't tell me to brush my teeth, they did, but I didn't build up the habit to brush my teeth because they told me to brush my teeth. I just associated brushing my teeth with them telling me to brush my teeth. So when I moved out and there was nobody there telling me, brush your teeth, I just forgot half the time. And I, for most of my adult life, have had to go to the dentist 3 times a year. Talk about ADHD tax. Spent so much money going to the dentist 4 times a year, so every 3 months, to get my teeth cleaned, and still ended up with cavities that I then had to deal with. And fairly recently, that changed. And I feel pretty confident making this video because I've been doing it for about a month and a half, which for me is unheard of. Usually things stop working after about 2 weeks. So one of the things I tried for a while was an alarm. I would set an alarm to brush my teeth, and that worked for a while, but then it's like you set an alarm and then you get so used to seeing the text on the screen for the alarm that the meaning behind the words just sort of disappears, and then you're like, oh, that's the alarm, and you just turn it off and go about your day. And that's what happened with the toothbrushing. My mom gave me a brush your teeth sign to put in the bathroom to remind me to brush my teeth, and that worked for a little bit, like a week, and then it basically just became part of the furniture and I forgot. So habit stacking, loosely speaking, is when you attach a new behavior or activity that you want to do to a behavior or activity that you already do. If you've been following me for any length of time, you might know that I used to have borderline personality disorder. I do not anymore, but getting rid of the BPD pathology revealed how much underlying that was ADHD. And so that's the stuff that I'm working on. So there are like the super organized person versions of habit stacking where you like chain a whole bunch of behaviors together. I am like baby level, okay? But even that has really helped. So I'll tell you what I do and then I'll explain why it works. I started putting my toothbrush in the shower. And now I brush my teeth every time I take a shower. I tried all that stuff to get myself to brush my teeth and none of it worked. And I'd heard about habit stacking from my therapist. We've tried stacking things together, but unfortunately there wasn't like a strong enough bond on some of those things, like to link them together. And so it just kind of fell apart. But the toothbrush in the shower thing really works for me. And here's why, I think. I think with a lot of ADHD hacks that I have used, it's a matter of getting myself to avoid something I like less to get myself to do the thing that I need to do. So with the showering and the toothbrush thing, I am not the biggest fan of changing physical states. I don't know how else to describe it, but like if I'm dry, I don't really want to be wet, and if I'm wet, I don't really want to be dry. The only reason I get in the shower is because, for better or worse, my hair gets super greasy if I don't wash it every day, and I hate that feeling. Like, I'll be really honest. If my hair didn't get greasy and if I couldn't smell myself when I got dirty, I would probably not shower that often just because I wouldn't think about it. Like, it is the fact that I get physically uncomfortable when I don't take a shower that makes me do it, right? So I take the shower to avoid the thing I like less, which is being greasy and nasty. But once I'm in the shower, I also don't really want to get out of the shower. So I will come up with things to do to procrastinate. That is why, for me, the toothbrush in the shower thing really, 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 really works. Because it gives me something I can do in the shower to sort of procrastinate getting back out. And it's still a productive thing, right? I'm actually brushing my teeth. And what this has sort of illuminated for me is, I think, a lot of how my brain processes decisions. I'll be in a situation and then I will pick the lesser of two evils. And this is something I don't particularly like about myself, because I wish that I were more geared towards going after the things that I know will be best for me. But typically, I actually function where I have two options and I pick the thing that is less bad. So when I'm in the shower and it's nice and warm and steamy in there, I'm faced with the option right after I've washed and stuff. It's like, well, I could get out and get cold and have to deal with the towel and the air and or I could be in here for another minute and a half, 2 minutes and brush my teeth. So I choose to brush my teeth because out of those two options, that is the better one. And then explains why I don't even think to brush my teeth when I walk into the bathroom and I see the toothbrush, because those two options are, I can either stand here in the bathroom for another 2 minutes to brush my teeth, or I can leave and go do something fun. So all of that happens subconsciously, by the way. And that's why it's so challenging. It's like, I'm sure there's a part of me that's like, oh, the toothbrush, but I don't think about it. I just walk in, and I'll leave. And that's how a lot of things work for me. It's always the lesser of two evils. And so with habit stacking, this is why not everything would work with the shower thing, right? There's a lot of things you can't do in the shower because wet, right? Like I couldn't write my emails in there, but let's just pretend that I could. If I had to do like my taxes, that would not work. Doing my taxes in the shower would not work, because that very easily, I can tell you right now, the lesser of two evils in that situation is getting out of the shower. The lesser of two evils thing is not really specifically related to habit stacking, but it explains why this particular set of activities really works for me, and could explain, if you're really struggling to attach certain tasks, why it might not, if you operate similarly to me in that regard. Now, the toothbrush in the shower thing is not the only habit stacking thing that I do. There are two other activity pairs that I have found have been really helpful for me. They're not as powerful or as regular as the toothbrush in the shower, but they've still helped to really improve my overall taking care of myself and my house. So the first one is that I am in a choir and in a barbershop quartet. And so while we do have sheet music, we also have learning tracks that we listen to. And whenever I put on one of those learning tracks, I instantly feel like I need to start doing something with my body, or else I will not be able to pay attention. But I can't pick anything where I'd really need to use my brain. And one of the other things that I've really struggled with is general house cleanliness. Typically, the way that I get myself to clean stuff is I set a date for people to come over, and then I use the urgency to clean my house. And that works. But, if you're not having people over every week, then your house gets really into disarray. And so one of the things that I've done, and this is where the habit stacking comes in, is I've attached cleaning to running through my music tracks. And so I'll sing and clean and sing and clean. And it is a bit of a looser attachment. So it doesn't happen 100% of the time, especially if I'm really low energy. But for the most part, when I put on these music tracks, I start feeling the need to move around and clean. So sometimes I'll do the dishes, or sometimes I'll sweep, or just walk around the house and pick stuff up that's not really where it needs to go. None of it's super significant. I'm not usually doing a deep clean. It's just whatever is easy and doesn't require a lot of brain energy. But surprisingly, if I'm practicing music every day, or even just a couple days a week, it really makes a difference in how picked up the space is. And that makes everything else easier on my brain, for sure. The other one is also cleaning, but it's while I make my coffee. So I don't practice singing every day, but I make coffee every day. It's one of the few rituals really that I have every day. The only days that I don't make coffee in the morning are if I am ill. That is one thing that I do not give up, is my morning coffee. And when I make coffee, I have a pour over. So there are a lot of steps involved in making the coffee. So I grind the beans fresh, I boil the water right there, and then I pour it over, and it takes time every pour, like until you get the whole pot. So there's a lot of time in between. And one of the things that I do there specifically is dishes and kitchen cleaning, because if you do any of your own meal prep, then the kitchen is just constantly a mess and there's always something to clean. So I'll do as much as I can get done while the coffee is being made. And it's kind of a game, like to see how much I can get done before like the next bit of coffee is done. You know, I think one of the things that really used to hold me back with stuff like this is that for some reason, I would tell myself that in order to start a task, I had to actually be able to finish it. And if there was no way I could finish it, or if there was a chance that I wouldn't be able to finish it, then there was no point in starting at all. And I think that's one of the lies I told myself that allowed a lot of my cleanliness stuff to get out of control. Because what happens is, most of the time, I can't guarantee that I have enough time to completely finish a task. But then, of course, things pile up and they pile up. And then the reason I avoid it is really more overwhelm, because now I'm looking at a mess that's going to take a day to get through. So letting go of that idea that I have to actually finish every cleaning task that I start when I start it has been really helpful in allowing this sort of habit stacking thing to work, because instead of looking at a giant pile of dishes, everything in the sink is full, right? And I'm making the coffee, I don't stand at that pile in the sink and go, oh, I have to do all of this. It's like, I'm just going to do as much as I can before the coffee's done. And, you know, if I do that most days, kitchen stays pretty clean. Whether it's habit stacking or anything else, find a way to make it work for you. And if your life doesn't look exactly like the example, who cares? Like, find a way to make it work. And what I mean by that is, like, I was looking up habit stacking just to see sort of what it encompasses. And yeah, there were a lot of things where it seemed very regimented and rigid. And for me, you know, it's funny. I was sitting here thinking, you know, Zanny, there's only like 2 things you do every day, and that's take a shower and make your coffee. Like, there's not that much else you can stack to, but that's not actually true. I sleep, I wake up, I go to the bathroom, I eat. So there's 4 other things, right? Like, what I could stack to those, I don't know for sure. Listening to an audiobook at night, like, if I wanted to get in the habit of learning something, that might be something I could stack. I hesitate to try to stack anything on eating because I already struggle to focus mindfully on what I'm eating and not try to do 10 million other things. So, but anyway, point is, right? Like, even if your baseline is that for habits, like, you can stack some of these things together. And I think some of the basic tips for that are make it easy on yourself. Like, this isn't one that I've started yet, so I have no idea how well it's going to work, but I brush my teeth every day almost now, except for the days I don't shower, which is rare. One thing I don't do every day is floss. That's one thing where I feel like if it's between flossing and getting out of the shower, I might choose to get out of the shower. But I don't do this every day, but I like to watch TV sometimes. And I like to do something with my hands while I watch TV. I already have fidget toys in front of the TV, so I know that when I'm in front of the TV, I will grab something on the fidget desk and play with it. So we're gonna try flossing sticks. I'm gonna put flossing sticks in a screw top container in front of the TV, and, you know, screw the fact that that's weird. Quite frankly, yes, it's odd, but, you know, I can get a decorative bowl, put it there. When guests come over, they're not gonna know what it is. They're gonna be like, oh, look, it's a pretty bowl. So the next time I make an ADHD video, I will let you know if that was successful or not. But I've spent so much of my life putting pressure on myself to do things the way that other people do them. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a seamstress. And this is my pattern drawers. I've labeled what's in all the drawers because I will not remember otherwise. Any space in my office that has a closed lid or it's not see-through, there is a label on it. Because if I do not label it, I will not know what is in there. I was hesitant to do that at first because I grew up in a home where nobody did that. You know, my mom put stuff in drawers and she knew where it was and that was enough for her. And it's not enough for me. I have to label everything. If it's out of sight, it is out of mind unless I put a label on it. Now we're kind of getting off the track of habit stacking. I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole because it could be a whole other video. But I just really want to drive home, like, do what works. You know, I mean, obviously be careful with that statement, right? I'm not advocating for you to harm yourself. But if something is just a little bit unusual, as long as it's actually helping you do the thing, do it. You need to put Post-it notes on every single one of your kitchen cabinets, do it. If you need to put all your self-care things into the shower with you so you make sure to take care of your body, do it. I'm still working to figure out how to get myself to do all the things that I want to do. But I think really trying to figure out how my brain works and how to work with it instead of trying to force it to be something that it's not has really made all the difference in the world. And if the only thing you get from this video is that and put your toothbrush in the shower, put your toothbrush in the shower. If it doesn't work, I'm sorry, but it was really helpful for me. And I every time I talk to someone who struggles with ADHD, I'm just like, put your toothbrush in the shower. Because when you see it and you're in there, there's something about the bubble of the shower. It's like its own little universe. So, all right. Well, I hope that was helpful and you got a nugget of information. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I sometimes like to end my videos with clips of my cat, and I got a really cute little video of me and Loki, so check that out.
Okay, so my sincerest apologies for the video quality in here. This is just what we got right now, but I just had to show y'all. Look at this baby. She loves being picked up like this. I've actually tried to pick her up the other way, you know, like under the chest with her feet under them, so they're sort of more right side up, which is what everyone told me you were supposed to do with cats when I was little. And I've always done that with everybody. She wants to be held like a baby. This is like her favorite thing. She will come up to me and my husband throughout the day, and she will just sit at our feet and cry until we pick her up and hold her like this. And she'll chill like this for a while until she's bored or ready to go do something else. Sometimes it's like a couple minutes. Sometimes you have to like put her down in your lap somewhere because it's hard to hold her up for so long. Yeah. Are you my little baby? Oh my goodness, you're so heavy. She doesn't feel that heavy at first. She's only like 10 pounds. You pick her up and you're like, oh, little baby. And then you stand here for 2 minutes and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to work out more my arms.
Isn't she adorable? She's just so cute. That little fluffy face. All right. We'll see you next time.